I almost lost to a low-rated player, and this is the game that we will analyze today. My name is Ed, the founder of Chesscology. Actually, I have this idea that popped up on my mind because I've been receiving messages stating that, Coach, how to improve my chess game? Coach, how to be better at chess? So why not? I will play with low-rated player and then we'll analyze the game, upload it like this one, so everyone can learn, especially the beginners and the low-rated players. One of them is Kyle. So after the game, he told me that there's a huge difference when he's playing against the same level than playing against high rated players, because when he's playing against his level, he understands what's been going on. The thing is, when he played against me, he's having a hard time to plan or to maneuver the piece. So he was trying hard to do something, but he struggles. Actually, the game was decent, and there's a point that he could actually win. So let's analyze the game. So let's begin with e4, d5. So Kyle picked the Scandinavian or center counter game, knight c3. I don't want to capture the pawn even in my real game. I move e4, knight c3 for this kind of opening. So d4, knight e2, e5, d3. For this kind of setup, white will attack king side while black will attack queen side. So there's an imbalance of attack. Question: how will you continue your development if the black's idea is to attack queen side? So let's help Kyle here. First, we have to understand, when we are planning to deploy an attack, we have to gain space. Why? Because that space will be used by your other pieces to move towards the attack. For this case, for this kind of pawn formation with d4 and e5, c5 is vital or essential before the knight c6. Why? Because it will give space for the queen that may go c7, b6, or a5. It, of course, it depends on the position or situation. So c5, and what is the idea of c5 aside from the space? To break on c4. So this b7 going to b5 is one of the ideas to support the pawn, and this bishop c8 going to a6 will give more pressure. So this is one of the attacking ideas. There are too many ways to attack the queen side, but this is one of those. So let's continue. H6. So I believe that Kyle didn't want my bishop to pin the knight. G3. So before I proceed with black's move, in the opening, one of the principles is you have to maximize the opportunity to develop or to improve your minor pieces. So remember that? So here, knight c6. I mentioned earlier, in the opening, you have to gain space because your space will be your comfort and struggle in the middle game. So you have to remember that. Bishop g2 and bishop g4, pinning my knight. I like that one because I've encountered this kind of position multiple times. The difference, of course, there's a c5 before the knight c6, but bishop g4, I like the move. H3, and now g4. In this position, I was thinking to go with just normal knight f3 or knight g3, or will continue my usual move f4. What's behind this move? F4, allowing black to check, and then king f1 if captures, knight f3, queen f6, let's say, and then bishop. So I compromise my king being uncastled for quick development. If we will check the numbers of pieces developed for black, so it's outnumbered. So in this position, I'm okay with this kind of no castling, since this king can just go on h2. But my goal is not to, to show off my attacking skill, even I don't have. So let's go with knight f3, just development and waiting Kyle to develop, or seeing Kyle how to improve his position. F6, I like the move because this bishop has to go in more active square. Knight h4, and what black would do here? Bishop to h7. Now, let's go with passive and active square. So this bishop is under attack. you have h7 or f7 to go to. Which is active and passive square? Is bishop h7 passive or active? How many square this bishop covers? Of course, if we will check, this pawn is difficult to break by the bishop. So the only square that this bishop has been covering is this g6. If this bishop will go to f7, look the activeness of this bishop. Although this bishop cannot go here, but the pressure is there. At the same time, this bishop may maneuver going to e6, controlling another diagonal. So bishop f7 is more active square than h7. So bishop h7, I just castled queen d7. So the idea is to castling queen side. I move f4, inviting the e takes f4 and then knights and then g5. So Kyle didn't want to commit with that kind of too risky position. So let's go back. So what's behind my f4 move? If we will check the bar, black is looking good here. Negative 0.86. I move f4. If captures, knight takes, and then g5. My idea is to go g6. If captures, of course, that would be fine. But if capture, after knight g6 captures, and then I have my knight takes, and I want to have this kind of position against Kyle because it will be a rook for two pieces. When you are giving a chance to pick your rook or two minor pieces, most of the time, two minor pieces are better than rook. Of course, it really depends on the position. But in most cases, two pieces or two minor pieces against a rook is better. As you can see here on bar, even I gave my two knights for a rook. It gives a plus 0.03. Why? Because this bishop is passive, the knight is undeveloped, this bishop is undeveloped, this knight is not taken yet. So somehow good for white. But let's continue to what happened on the game. So after f4, castling, and then I push the pawn. So this bishop has no space at all. Bishop to c5 development, and of course to have some pressure here, but that is for a long term. At the same time, this bishop may add more protection for the king. So a3, of course, the idea is to attack queen side. Knight development, b4, bishop b6. You have to move your bishop away. Bishop d2. I cannot push the a4 yet because this is free. And then a6 here. In this position, I have a chance now to attack the a6 and the knight on c6 by moving my pawn. Of course, I cannot go that yet. Not yet for now. So I move a4 and then king b8. I can go a4 and then b5. But I just decided, okay, let's go with, because I will sacrifice my two pawns. That is my idea. So captures. So I move queen b1. So offering the pawn. So and knight a7. So what happened? If pawn captures the pawn, I have my rook takes rook, it will give more pressure on the a5. So that is my idea. Now, knight to a7, I move knight b3, still inviting Kyle to capture, come on. But there's a big difference now. Why? Because this queen is now protecting the pawn and this rook cannot capture the pawn. As you can see, the bar is, hey, black is looking good here. Black is winning here. And here, I still refuse to capture the pawn. Knight to c1's like, come on, Kyle. And he didn't want the pawn. He moved bishop g8 because this bishop has been staying here for a long time and needed to be developed. I move knight. And then he captures. So my queen is active now. Queen takes. And now my rook can easily go to b1, putting pressure on the b file. So let's see. Capture. Rook takes. Knight to c6. So I move my knight because this knight is not doing anything, just threaten the rook, rook g8. And here, Kyle move knight to e7. So in this position, I saw something which I need to use my time to verify or to confirm the moves, of course, to calculate very well. That is the reason why I have my 4 minutes and 45 seconds and then 3 minutes 8 seconds, because after I capture, I have my choice here. Queen to a2 or bishop to b4. but I moved bishop b4. So what will happen if move here? So three pieces are attacking the knight, queen c5, and then I have my bishop a5, weakening the support for this knight. Instead, I pick, okay, let's go with bishop b4, c5, and then still the idea is to go to bishop a5. And here, black move bishop c7. Of course, I have to capture that one. Capture, and of course, that's a free knight. I have to capture that one. Rook b8, protecting the b7. Rook b1. And here, how can you support this b7? Three attackers versus two defenders. That is how you count when you are going to commit or engage yourself in any kind of trade or series of exchanges. Like, so that is easier compared to capture, capture, capture. So you only have to do is to count one, two, three attackers and then two defenders. So three is better than two. Now, black decided, okay, I will move away my king. However, forgetting the rook, queen takes rook, and this will be resign from that. So what will be our takeaways for this game? Number one, in the opening, I mentioned earlier, we need space because our pieces need to maneuver around to land on the right square without getting any kind of struggle. And the space that we establish in the opening will be our comfort or struggle in the middle game. That is very important to remember. And speaking of middle game, it's about, of course, strategy or planning. This is actually we or us, our understanding on what's going on the game, our depth on how we read the situation or position. And you may not attain the high level of understanding or depth in the chess game if you will not commit yourself in solving puzzles, playing against high rated or stronger players than you. So that is not easy to attain. If you want to improve your middle game, you have to keep solving different kind of puzzle, variety of puzzle. You may go to Lichess. I love Lichess puzzle because it provides it provides different kind of puzzle variety, various, and of course, if we want to improve the way we assess the position, we need to play against strong players or a stronger player than us. That is how we improve our chess analysis. Every time we play against strong and high rated player than us. So I hope we learned something for this simple chess analysis.